kind of get started. There we go. Okay, yeah, just to kick things off, my name is Amanda Johnson. If you are joining us for the first time today, I'm the Accepted Student Coordinator in the Office of Accepted Students in Bearcat Orientation. And I've got some contact information on here. I'm going to bring this up at the end as well and just kind of give you some more information. If you or your student is needing some additional support, you can definitely reach out to us. So just to keep it going here. So today we are here to talk about all things financial aid. And with that, just to give you an idea of, what it is exactly we're hoping to accomplish here, some of the things that you can take away from today's meeting. So what can we expect? Getting information about applying for federal and state aid, identifying common mistakes made on the FAFSA, understanding your student's award package, and there's going to be an opportunity for you to ask any additional questions after the presentation. Just for the sake of time, we will wait until the end to kind of go through some questions that you might have. If you are thinking of some things as the presenters are going through it, you can definitely type those questions in the chat, and we can also, look at those and answer those at the end as well. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over here. So again, I just introduced myself, but we also have Ace Thomas joining us. He is here with Student Money Management Center. And I just wanted Ace to kind of be on the call today to be able to answer any questions that you might have about, okay, my student is receiving such and such refund, how do they manage that? So if Ace could just kind of give a little intro and kind of tell us more about what resources you can provide for students.
Yes, hello everyone, awesome to be here today. Essentially, all my information is there. I'm Ace Thomas, I'm a program coordinator for the Student Money Management Center. And essentially the greatest resource we offer our students is if they have questions about refunds or any budgetary or any financial wellness education they would like information on, we would be the person or the people to go to, because we offer one-on-one coaching sessions where we really break down what are you paying for, what might you be paying for if you want an estimated fee statement, talking about aid options, how you pay off school, how you pay off loans, or loans good, talking about the loans, literally everything in between. So we are kind of we sit down with you and kind of explain how everything works when it comes to money in higher ed and even in your personal life. So we do help students with budgeting, mostly like budgeting for an apartment, maybe purchasing their first car and things like that. So we offer a lot of great resources to our students in the terms of financial wellness and education.
Awesome, thank you. And yeah, like I said, Ace is going to be hanging out here, so he can also help answer any questions that you guys might have. And where did my mouse go? There we go. Okay, so now just to jump into what we're all here for, talking about financial aid. I'm going to we have Allie and Alora joining us from financial aid. I'm going to actually let them share their screen. And I also realized this yesterday. So on this call today, we have myself, Amanda, we have Ace, we have Allie, and we have Alora. So I'm calling ourselves the A team. So let's see here. Let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And Allie or Alora, if you want to pull up yours.
All right, it made the switch pretty quick. I didn't even realize that we had switched screens. I was like, wait, hold on. Okay, so hi guys, I'm Alora. I will also let Allie kind of introduce herself as well, but my name is Alora Goad. I am one of the undergraduate counselors for financial aid here at Sam Houston. I'm really excited to be here with you guys, talking to you, answering some questions today, but I'll kind of let Allie hop in and introduce herself as well, and then we'll get started.
Hey guys, I'm Allie. I'm a undergrad counselor. I was a transfer student here. I am an alum from SAM with a comp studies major, and I'm super excited to be here with y'all.
Okay, so can everyone see our screen? Can y'all see what we're looking at right now? Okay, good deal, just making sure. I'm also an alumni from SAM, so we have a lot of good experience and knowledge about the university, about financial aid, and management of money, all the things. But I am going to go ahead and get started. So I think Allie has it shared right now, and y'all can see applying for federal and state aid. So U.S. citizens and permanent residents do qualify for what we call the FAFSA, and that's the free application for federal student aid. Then you can see that's a link right there. So that link actually goes to studentaid.gov, where you can fill out the FAFSA. If you Texas resident is what you're a Texas resident only, then you are eligible for what we call the TASFA. And so that is actually a paper application that gets filled out. You do have to print it off from the website that is listed right there called College for All Texans. And so if you are a TAFSA eligible student, you can go there. And that TASFA stands for Texas Application for State Financial Aid. So I think that Ace is dropping some links in the chat. Thank you, Ace, appreciate it. And so that's kind of the difference between if you will be considered a FAFSA student or a TASFA student. Know for both of these different applications that I'm talking about, it does use the tax information from prior year. So what that means is right now, say you're coming in this spring, right? The next semester you're about to start at Sam Houston. So that would be using the 2021-2022 FAFSA information, which uses your 2019 taxes, because that's 2 years before. If you plan on coming next fall and you're coming for the 2022-2023 school year, you will be using your 2020 taxes. So that's kind of how that works with the prior tax year. So know that when you're filling out your FAFSA information and your TASFA. All right. Thank you, Allie. So speaking of like the FAFSA and what that kind of looks like. So when you pull up their website, that's studentaid.gov, this is kind of what you'll see. So the free application for federal student aid at that website, like I said, you'll see this. So when you go in, if it's your first time ever filling out a FAFSA, you will say new to the FAFSA process, start here. You will have to create an FSA ID. And so what that FSA ID is, it's a specific login for you to be able to get on your FAFSA. And you will carry that with you throughout your time that you were filling out a FAFSA. And we'll kind of talk about in a second, the difference between like an independent and a dependent student, but your parents also have to have an FSA ID when they go in to fill out the FAFSA. So just know that parent and student both have to have one. They're separate. You both will need one. If you've already filled out a FAFSA, you're transferring and you use some of it like a junior college, or you've kind of gone on there and looked at it already, you would be using returning user, and you just go in and log in with your information. You have a save code, and that way you just get back on and your information is kind of already there with that FSA ID. So that is kind of it for that. And I just mentioned that we were going to talk about the difference between dependency status. And I feel like this is something we get a lot of questions on. I'm going to literally read y'all down this list and y'all read it with me. But this is what the Department of Education says qualifies a student if they are independent or dependent. So an independent student has to be 24 years of age or older, married and have children, working on a master's or doctorate program, active duty or veteran, have dependents other than children or spouse, foster care or ward of the court, emancipated minor, legal guardianship, or at risk of homelessness. So per the Department of Education, that is literally the list of things that they look at, and they go down, did you answer yes to any of these? If you did, then okay, you're an independent student. If you did not say yes to any of those things that I just listed out, you are considered dependent. So a lot of people want to ask, well, I filed my own taxes. That is the list of questions that they do go through that considers you to be independent or dependent. There are some situations though that could maybe make it look different. So what that would be is some of the things that we listed and some other things, but Allie, if you'll go forward for me. Thank you, ma'am. So if you have a special circumstance do consist of, they're very specific: death or divorce of a parent or spouse, involuntary job loss, which I'll kind of hop back up and talk about in a second, homelessness, or if you believe that you had a situation that happened that should qualify you to have your FAFSA information look differently, even though it says it here, but you're like, no, something happened, I really should talk about it. definitely give our office a call, and we would love to have that conversation with you. You can speak with a counselor such as Allie or I, and we will kind of have that conversation with you if you qualify for a special circumstance. But just to kind of hop back and talk about involuntary job loss. So involuntary means it was not your choice at all to not have that job anymore. Retirement is not considered an involuntary job loss. That is, I do want to put that out there. So this is, you completely lost your job. It was like not anything that you had a choice in. And so with COVID right now, just to kind of give an example, with COVID and, it's been going on for a while now, a lot of people had their jobs get lost because of COVID. Well, that's a situation we could possibly talk about. So if you had a significant change in your income because you lost your job due to COVID, well, that's a conversation. So that would be an example of an involuntary job loss, like the business shutdown, or I got let go because X, Y, and Z was happening. You can give our office a call and we can have a conversation and kind of evaluate what that may look like for you if you feel like it made a significant change to income or FAFSA or something like that. So just to kind of touch on it. All right, let's also talk about some common mistakes that people make on FAFSA. I'm also just going to read this to you guys because these are really common. We see this all the time. So not having an FSA ID. So that is what I kind of mentioned in the beginning. I said parents and students normally both have to have one. That FSA ID, a lot of people, the student made one, well, parent doesn't have one. Well, you both have to have one to be able to sign it and get your FAFSA completed. So that is a big mistake that we see, is people not having the FSA before they go to fill it out and get that information started. Not using your FSA ID to complete the application. So sometimes you'll switch them and then parents' ID is with your social and it gets all crossed. So make sure that you keep them separate. You do have to both have one, like I said, so make sure that you are using the correct one on your own application. Not using that IRS data retrieval tool. So IRS DRT is what we kind of call that. What that is essentially the IRS has a portal kind of where you can go on the FAFSA and log into your IRS information, and it pulls your taxes from the IRS page and puts it on your FAFSA. Y'all, it is beautiful. I'm not gonna lie to you. It is a beautiful tool. And so if you're like, man, I don't know what a Schedule 2 line CA, that's okay, because the IRS data retrieval tool, if you use it, is so helpful. If you can get it, if you have it and it like you pull it in, it'll autofill a lot of what you're looking at on your FAFSA. So know that is a tool. Don't be scared of it because it says IRS. It literally just kind of autofills a lot of those spots on your FAFSA where it's asking about your income. Not reading your definitions carefully. People it's a lot to read sometimes and people blow through. It's important and it's there for a reason. So make sure when you're reading, you read carefully and you understand what's being asked of you. There is question marks on the prompts and everything. So if you have a question, what's happening on there, you can do that and it'll explain even in more detail. So make sure that you understand the definitions carefully, and putting incorrect information. So you can have it where you're going through and you end up putting parents' information on accident where a student's information should be. So just make sure when you're inputting information, you're not getting that confused, because the information may not match and you can get flagged for what we call verification, which I think we're going to touch on in a little bit. But make sure that your information is not conflicting, that it's clear, and that you are putting it down for the correct person and part of the FAFSA. Not reporting required information. So you do have to have all of the information that is required to be as true and correct at the time that you're filling it out. And you do have to have it if it's being asked of you. So make sure that you're doing all the required information. And then a lot of people get right to the end, you guys, and they just don't end up signing it. You do have to have parent student sign it, or at least if you're an independent student, you have to sign it, and they get to the end and they get to that point and they do not sign it. So make sure that you are signing that. You will see a beautiful large congratulations, so-and-so, you did it. Y'all, it is a beautiful thing to see congratulations. Everyone loves being congratulated. So make sure that you see that when you're filling out your FAFSA application. Don't make those mistakes. All right. So just some important deadlines that I would like to touch on. I think these are good to just kind of keep in your mind. So FAFSA opens October 1st, 1 year prior to the starting academic year. So we just had October I don't even know what month it is anymore. It's December. So like 2 months ago, right? October 1st. So that opened for the 2022-2023 school year. So that has already been open. You guys can fill it out for next year whenever you're trying to get ready for school. That is open. You're welcome to fill it out. And every year it's going to open on October 1st. So when you're like, oh, October's coming, so is FAFSA, and keep that in mind when you're going through. Scholarships for CATS application opens September 1st, so the month before that, 1 year to a starting. So the same way that FAFSA does that 1 year early, our scholarships for CATS application does as well. Scholarships for CATS is a database that Sam Houston uses for all of our scholarships, and we'll kind of talk about scholarships a little bit more later, but just know that application is open as well for the 2022-23 school year, and also for 21-22. The SHSU priority date for both is November 1st. So we say the earlier you get it in, the better. Some stuff is first come, first serve. So if you get your information and turned it to us earlier, that is better. It says deadline, but with that, it doesn't mean that, oh, I didn't turn it in by November 1st, I'm not going to get it. It's not like that. It's just a priority date that we encourage people to have it in by. The earlier, the better. So you can maximize your award package. And then what is that priority date? Oh, look, it's right there. Maximize your award package, and then grants and scholarships are limited and given out by application completion date. So again, with the earlier you turn it in, we're going to look at that date and see, because it is first come, first serve a lot of the time. So, okay, you turned it in earlier. Let's look at that. So make sure that you get it in early, and y'all keep that in mind when it's September, October, and November 1st. Those are, think of your fall times. Okay, the first of all that, let's go. But you can keep going, Allie. Okay. And then for the awarding process, I'll kind of start talking about that. And then after this, I'll pass it off to Allie and she'll kind of continue. But for our awarding process, about 33% of students who file their FAFSA are selected for verification. So that means that there was something on the FAFSA, or you were just selected to look at and have further documentation submitted, or just have extra checks on your FAFSA. So it must be completed before you can receive your financial aid. If you are flagged or selected for verification, that has to be turned in, and it has to be, corrected before you are able to receive any financial aid. And you can see this, one, you'll get an email to your account, or you can go on your MySam. So MySam has a lot of great things on there, but one of the things that you can look at is what there is requested information that we are asking for, or an aid notifications. You can go to MySam, my account, and then financial aid requirements. And that's kind of right here is what it looks like. That's a picture of what you'll be looking for. Thank you, Allie. I was doing it and realized like I'm not sharing my screen, so y'all don't even know what I'm circling right now, but it's fine. I was like right here. But financial aid requirements, when you click on it, it's going to ask you what academic year you're looking for. You would select the year that you are currently in. So if you're here you're coming in spring, you would select 21-22. If you're like, I'm going to be here next fall, you would select 22-23. And so that is how you would see it. It does list the requirements of what we are looking for and kind of your next step. So just know if you have been selected for verification, or if we are looking for something further for your account, it will be there. And that's how you guys can kind of see that. But I am going to go ahead and pass it off to Allie and let her kind of talk to you guys too.
All right, so checking your financial aid status, of course, you will be notified from our office about missing requirements. You do have to be an accepted student to receive these emails and notification. If you're not an accepted student, you can call our office. We can help you through the phone, or you can stop here in Estill and we can help you. Submitting documentation. Every form will have the information that you need to send to. You can send it through email, fa-documents@shsu.edu. You must send that information over through your SHSU email. We do not open any outside emails. You can also fax it at 936-294-3668. The fax machine is checked daily. Of course, you can walk in to our office. We do have a verification analyst reviewing that information for the student as they walk in. Okay, so understanding your aid package and your federal aid limits is next. when you receive your awarding package, you're going to see something called cost of attendance. What cost of attendance is an estimate cost to attend here at Sam Houston State University. It is an estimate number for tuition and fees, room and board, books and supplies, transportation, miscellaneous personal expenses. Tuition and fees, they put the estimate cost for tuition and fees for 15 hours. So you will see this information of cost of attendance on the right side of your awarding package. So the total for the student cost of attendance potentially could cost them $25,672. It does not mean that much money you will pay for the academic year. It's an estimate number. So it's based on 15 hours. So the 15 hours is 5,378. The estimate number of room and board could potentially be 4,835. It could be less, it could be more. This is an estimate number. Books and supplies could potentially cost $690. Transportation, $1,000. Miscellaneous, $896. If you do accept any loans, you will be added a loan fee of $35. Of course, it just all depends on how many hours you're enrolled. On the need calculation, it's very difficult to understand what need calculation is. The cost of attendance is $25,672. The estimate family contribution number is based on the information you add on the FAFSA. So it's based on the parent's tax information. So this student estimate family contribution number is 1,465. It does not mean that it's going to cost this parent have to contribute $1,465. It's just an estimate. It's just a number that was added, calculated for the student through the taxes. The initial need. So the student is needing $24,207 based on the cost of attendance and the estimate number. Types of aid. There's two types of aid, need-based aid and non-need-based aid. Need-based aid is scholarships. Of course, you can, as Laura said, scholarships for CATs. The priority deadline again is September 1st. Grants are free money. You don't have to pay that back. That's free, it's yours. That includes Pell, Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, SEOG. If you receive Pell, you might have that opportunity to get SEOG. Of course, there is a limited amount of that grant. You can receive a state grant, which is called TPEG. Texas grant is, which we all love. Texas grant is, it's a big number that students are eligible to receive per Texas grant. A subsidized loan. If you do receive a subsidized loan, you do have to pay that loan back. It does not accrue interest while you're in school. Work study, the student can decide to work through the university and get a paycheck every 1st and 15th and earn aid by working. So non-need based aid, unsubsidized loan is if you accept this loan, it does have interest as soon as you accept the award and it pays out. The Parent Plus loan, every dependent student will have a Parent Plus loan in their awarding package. Of course, this is optional. The parent has to apply using their FSA ID. They cannot apply through the student's portal. They have to do it through their portal. Of course, the Parent Plus loan, it's going to be under the parent's name. They have to do a master promissory note stating that they will pay the Parent Plus loan back. And merit-based loan scholarships. The merit-based scholarships, you will just, if you're getting outside scholarships, you would just have to run through the cashier's office so they can receive the check and then it will then move forward to our office. There are annual loan limits. If you're a dependent student, a freshman can only receive $5,500 per academic year. So 50% in the fall and 50% in the spring. Sophomores, $6,500, juniors and seniors, $7,500. However, if you are a freshman in the fall and you become a sophomore in the spring, you can call our office and say, hey, Allie, I changed classification. Can I receive that additional $1,000? We will review your account to determine if you are a freshman, you're still a freshman, or you're a sophomore. Then you authorize us to increase your loan for $1,000 to make you at $6,500 for sophomore. If you're a dependent student, it is an increase. So freshmen will receive $9,500, sophomores $10,500, juniors and seniors $12,500. We cannot increase the student's parent plus loan. This is through Department of Education. After accepting loans, if you're going to be a transfer student and hopefully an accepted student here at SAM, once you complete the application, you get awarded and you accept your loans, you have to complete 2 important things in order for it to pay out. The entrance counseling, which takes about 30 to 35 minutes, and a master promissory note. The master promissory note is stating that you will pay this money back to the government. The parent plus loan, again, must be applied by parent only. It has to be run through an FSA ID, a parent FSA ID, and then of course additional aid will be given to the student. Another separate master parent promissory note, and of course for this information is for 22-23. The application for 22-23 will be April 15th. The application for the students that are coming in the spring term, that application will be opened. It's open now. So once you accept the parent plus loan, the parent can go and log in and finish the application. We do have a requirement here to be eligible for financial aid. It's called SAP, Satisfactory Academic Progress. Student must meet 2 very important eligibility things in order to receive financial aid. The GPA has to be a 2.0 and a 67 completion rate. 67 completion rate, it's pass divided by attempted hours. That's very important. That includes anything that is an F, a Q, a W, an I, IP, anything that's not an A, B, C, or D. If you do exceed 180 hours, you're going to be denied financial aid. Of course, if you do, in any sense, are below the 2.0 or 67% or over 180 hours, you are eligible to appeal. We do have an appeal process, and you can call our office for more information of that. And I guess we can open it up for questions.
Yes, thank you guys. So if we want to take a look, I know we have a few questions that came through on the chat. And then once we kind of look at those, if anybody has any that they want to add to that, or if anyone wants to unmute themselves and ask the questions, we can do that. What do we got here?
Yeah, I was reading them as they were coming in, so.
Yes, so I think, Dennis, I'm not sure which slide you were referring to throughout the presentation, but I don't know if I mentioned this. This meeting is being recorded, and it will be posted onto our webpage. I have a slide at the very end that can give you that link to that webpage. But that will be posted on there if you want to come back and watch the entire presentation or parts of it at a later date. It should be posted sometime in the next couple of weeks. What else do we have?
Okay, so Wendy asked, are you only able to fill out one, or you can fill out both? You can fill out both. They're both open. 22-23 FAFSA was opened October 1st. So you're more than welcome to complete that. The 22-23 application will be using a 2020 taxes.
Yeah, so the next question is, would we use the 2021 taxes for this FAFSA? So for the 2021-2020 school year, so this would be this previous fall that we just finished, right, in this current spring, you would be using your 2019 taxes. When next fall starts for the 2022-2023 school year, so around August of 2022, when that year starts, that academic year is using your 2020 taxes. So FAFSA will not be asking for your 21 taxes at all. Because it is 2 years prior from when you're filling it out. So great question.
If you are having issues with the FAFSA website, I definitely recommend you doing a live chat with them or calling them if you're having issues.
I also did want to mention that when you're going, I had someone message and ask about what is considered full-time. So full-time for schools is just kind of a general question, is considered 12 hours. So just note that as well. And someone asked about the FAFSA portal. So when she's talking about the FAFSA portal, that's just when you get on there and you make your account. It does have a portal on there where it gives your loan history, Pell history, so that information, and that would be considered your FAFSA portal. So that's kind of what that phrasing, that verbiage is.
The next question is, how do you take out loans? Of course, if you are wanting to complete the FAFSA, you will receive an awarding package and it will have loans. Of course, you are more than welcome to do external loans. We do have a great website called Select that have outside loans.
Just to kind of add to what Ali is saying, the MySam account that I kind of told you guys about, and I showed you the little box that said financial aid requirements. So right underneath that, when you get on your MySam, there's financial aid awards. If you're awarded loans, you'll see it on there and you can say, okay, I accept. And then Ali had mentioned a master promissory note and entrance counseling. Those would be your next steps to be able to get those completed. And that's how you would take out loans. So I hope that like fully answers that question. We also got a question about the transportation fee. So you're asking about during the cost of attendance that Ali was talking about, the transportation fee, and if the student has their own car, will this fee apply? So I don't know, Ali, if you wanted to dive into that more.
It's an estimate number. So we have to have a cost of attendance in order for us to not over award a student. So it's just a fee. It does not mean that it will apply to the student. It's just a number that we have to have in order for us to not over award a student.
So with the cost of attendance, to add on to what Ali's saying too, that's not what you're paying for. That 24,000 something number is not the cost of what you're paying. It's something that we use to be able to award students. So like students have to get to school in some way, shape, or form. And so that number is factored into it. So we can see, okay, what's an estimate of what it could cost them possibly. So if they have their own car, well, they have to get gas, right? So that gas is what that transportation fee would be for us when we're considering all things that could apply to their school, so that we can award and not over award students. So I hope that also clears that up.
Can we apply for both FAFSA and TASFA? No. Only Texas residents are eligible for TASFA. FAFSA students, if you are a citizen, you are eligible to do the FAFSA. If you don't know which one you're eligible for, you are more than welcome to call our office and we can review your account.
Yes, the next question is, can my student find out their FAFSA award on MySam yet? So it depends. You're welcome to check it if you have a MySam account. You would just get on and look at that financial aid awards. And if there is something there, then that you can see that you've been awarded. But when you have been awarded, you will get an email notification letting you know that you've received aid and to check on it. So y'all are welcome to look at the, again, MySam, My Account financial aid awards, and it'll be there, but we do send out an email letting students know that they've been awarded when that happens.
I'm going to interrupt you guys, but I think Bruce has had his hand up for a while since the beginning, and he's been trying to ask.
Sorry, Bruce.
That's okay. I had a couple questions for you.
Sure.
So my son was accepted, and we have a MySam all set up. Is there anything that we have to do to accept the acceptance to start the next process, or is it automatically working until he says, no, I'm going somewhere else?
Amanda, do you know that question?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So you said, sorry. So you said that he
he's been accepted. Does he have to accept his acceptance or before anything starts?
No, essentially, there's not like an official, I'm coming to Sam Houston.
Okay.
His acceptance will be made complete once he actually registers for classes at Sam Houston.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if he decides, hopefully not, but if he decides to attend somewhere else, then he would just need to not register for classes at Sam.
Okay. So he's accepted, and we've filled out FAFSA on his mom with his mom, because during this semester that's who he's lived with. But he's getting ready to move back with me. We're divorced and go back to his old high school. So can I fill out now the FAFSA? Because the incomes are vastly different. Is that something I can do, or are we pretty much stuck with the FAFSA she filled out?
Bruce, I definitely recommend you calling our office so we can have a conversation about his account, and I can give you more information.
And who and which number?
It's going to be 936-294-1774, and you can request to speak with a counselor.
And we do have a slide after this question slide with our contact information on it. So if y'all were like, wait, slow down, repeat that number, we got it for you guys. So we will give that to y'all if you need it. Again, it has our fax and everything on there as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Of course.
No problem.
I'm still kind of filtering through the questions on the chat. There's a question just to get through really quick about like a fill-in scholarship that used to be business school only. So I believe you're talking about the Smith-Hudson scholarship. It was, like it's associated with the College of Business, because that is the name of the business school, but that actually is open to everyone now. You can be any major to try to get that scholarship, and it is now on scholarships for cats. So you would see that on scholarships for cats. Yes.
Next one. You showed congratulations. We received, it runs its course through Department of Education. It does take about 4 days for us to receive that. If of course you are selected for verification, make sure you review your emails and your MySam. If you're not receiving any notification, you will receive a email from us saying that you were awarded. Of course, if you need to find where all of that stuff is, you're more than welcome to call our office. We can walk through it, or you can always make an appointment with a counselor so we can review your awarding package, or to figure out why you haven't received an awarding package.
Yes, 1 second, still filtering through. To kind of add to what Allie's saying and hopefully answer some more questions that I'm seeing in the chat. Again, you will be notified when you're awarded through your Sam Houston email. So if you are, I see one that says you turned your FAFSA in for October 1st. If you turned in your 2022-2023 FAFSA and you plan on coming in the fall, we haven't began awarding for fall yet. So you won't see that until
probably end of February, beginning of March.
Yeah, that's what I was also going to say. So we haven't started awarding for that time yet. So if you guys are like, I submitted this, I haven't seen anything yet. We're working through like aid for spring and getting all of that right now. And again, you will be notified. So if you get on there and you're like, I think that everything should be fine, I don't know why I haven't been awarded, again, give our office a call. We'd love to like check out your account more specifically and see maybe why there's something there, or if we're just waiting essentially. So if you have questions about like when will I see it, that it just kind of depends on the account sometimes. But as far as like fall and all of that goes, we haven't awarded for that yet. Allie, what do you think about the question? If your FAFSA exceeds the COA, what disqualifies you for need?
Correct. So you're only going to be eligible for loans. So if it exceeds it, you're only going to receive an unsubsidized loan. And if the student is a dependent student, it will be a parent plus loan and an unsubsidized loan.
I did want to kind of touch too, because I'm seeing a lot of questions about this, and I might have not explained it fully. So maybe let me go back and kind of explain again. So the FAFSA is only is for citizens and eligible citizens and things like that. The only reason you would fill out TASFA is if you are only a Texas resident and you're not a citizen. So for people who are asking, what's the benefit of filling out a TASFA? Can you do the Texas one as well? So if you are eligible for the FAFSA and you guys have started that process, you will not fill out a TASFA. That TASFA is for Texas residents only. So hopefully that kind of clears that up.
You can add up to 10 schools in the FAFSA application. So you can always go log in and add Lone Star, us, FSA, U of H, A&M. You can add all those colleges and they will receive your application as well.
Yes. With the FAFSA, is this a loan or a grant? Will they tell us which one we're receiving? So FAFSA will not tell you that. Sam Houston will tell you. FAFSA will just give you, when you guys fill it out, your EFC number, which is what is being sent to Sam Houston, or whatever schools you put on there. With the FAFSA, it depends on the EFC number and some different factors what you get awarded. So Sam Houston, or the university that you end up attending, will tell you what kind of aid you're receiving. FAFSA will not do that. They just give the EFC. So hopefully that helps clear that up. So the Bearcat Bucks, can students use cash and credit cards for food and beverages on campus, or do we need to purchase Bearcat Bucks? So I actually know the answer to this. Students can use cash and credit cards. They will take that money. The thing that comes with like Bearcat Bucks is that's a part of the meal planner. You can purchase Bearcat Bucks. Bearcat Bucks are just on campus tax-free currency. So it's nice for students to use because it is non-taxed. But as far as like, what can I purchase on campus? You don't have to have Bearcat Bucks to be able to buy things on campus. I go during lunch all the time and go get sushi, y'all, with my own personal money because I don't have Bearcat Bucks anymore, but you don't need Bearcat Bucks to buy things on campus. They're just nice.
The next question, can you take summer classes with FAFSA? So summer is complicated. It's a yes or no answer. It just all depends. If you've accepted your loans for fall and spring, you're not going to be eligible for a loan in the summer. If you are eligible for Pell and you receive Pell fall in the spring, you are going to be eligible for Pell in the summer. However, you have to be enrolled in 6 federal hours to receive that. So it depends. We do award students in the summer, probably in mid-April. You will be notified from our office.
So we're getting some questions about scholarships. I would encourage you guys to go through our scholarships for CATS website and just look at those requirements and see what's on there and see what we have. As far as like getting financial aid, I think you can fill it out and see what you're eligible for. And then as far as like scholarships, they're asking specifically about merit-based scholarship, Allie. I don't know if you wanted to like add to that. But our website really has so many scholarships on there. I would really just encourage you to fill out the general application, fill out if you have a specific college application, and then really look for the opportunities. Someone had also asked about if you have like a recommendation or like something like that. There is a tab on scholarships for CATS that says recommendations. And if that's required, you'd be able to get on there and upload that there. But it's like, there's 2 things here and it's this one. So you would see it, just look for recommendations when you get on there. Allie, did you want to add anything about scholarships for CATS on that?
No, definitely recommend you to complete the general application. Of course, a committee sits down and reviews every single candidate that is eligible for the scholarships. So the coordinator is not the one that is approving the student. It's a committees. If you've accepted a loan and you don't want it anymore, you're more than welcome to call our office and we can cancel that for you. Of course, yeah, just call our office and we can you can request to cancel the unsubsidized loan and we can do that for you.
So I do want to point out that ACE had sent the Elm Select link. That Elm Select is for alternative loans. So someone had asked, can we send the link if they were interested in an alternative loan? Elm Select is that website, just so you guys know. Again, with the scholarship questions, really just get on there and read through what you're eligible for. Because if you read through those requirements and you're like, I kind of hit all those. I mean, it's kind of like, it may not be exactly what I thought I could be, but if you qualify, does not hurt to apply, right? Let's see.
If you can send a recommendation letter for a scholarship to the scholarship email. The email is scholarships at shsu.edu.
Question is, do you have to fill out FAFSA application to receive any scholarships? It depends, not necessarily. You can receive scholarships without having a FAFSA on file, but some scholarships that are listed do want to see your FAFSA information. So I would still submit a FAFSA if you're also doing scholarships, because the scholarship committee may pull your FAFSA to see that kind of number and what that looks like. I see a hand, but really quick, I wanted to touch on what's the difference between the two loans. So Ali kind of touched on that. A subsidized loan does not accrue interest while you're in school, and an unsubsidized loan does accrue interest while you're in school. Just to quickly touch on that.
Yes, Arthur?
Hi, quick question. My son had received what was a scholarship online. So he received an email, went to the financial aid website, saw the amount, and then later we went back to accept it, and it had disappeared. So the question is for the financial aid office. I've heard rumors of that was a mistake or an error. How do we validate this if it was an actual scholarship?
You can call our office. Usually if there's anything that has changed within the student's package, whoever did it will put a comment in their account, and we can help with that. So I definitely recommend you calling our office so we can review his account. However, if we don't have a release of information on file, you have to make sure that the student's there to authorize that conversation with you.
Understood. And just so you're aware, we don't have any documentation or traceability of this. It just happened to appear and disappear. So is it worth a call if we don't have any documentation?
I would, if it was a scholarship, I would call, and then we can get with the scholarship coordinator.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have about 10 minutes left here. I think I saw earlier in the chat, Lindsay, did you have a question? Lindsay Federa?
Hi, yeah, my daughter Zoe got accepted.
Yay!
So I know, okay, she's really excited. But when we log in, we're not seeing anything. The only thing we're seeing is like a hold for some sort of TSA or I can't remember what it's called. And so it's not letting us do anything else. And I don't know how we get to see the financial aid pack and stuff for that for the future. I don't know how we're supposed to plan for that if we can't get past that.
So is it TSI?
TSI, that's it.
So TSI is a test that students have to take, and it's more along the lines of like them getting advised in what classes they're going to take. So that test is required. There's some like certain situations where you may not have to take it, but that is done through their advisor can kind of talk to them about that, but they have to have that done for advising and getting registered for classes. So I would just look into taking the TSI. As far as like financial aid goes, once a student's accepted and they've filled out their FAFSA, we can still receive the FAFSA, but we can't award until a student is enrolled and they're in classes. They won't receive that money. So it kind of like domino effects and adds all up into it, and like eventually plays out. But as far as FAFSA goes, it will only affect her FAFSA if she doesn't eventually enroll in classes.
Okay, and that's what we were wondering, because we were like, I figured that was kind of where it was, the financial and everything was held up, is that she needed to do that. Because she's planning to come in the fall. So, we were trying to get everything set up. And then I also had a question. In March of this year, we had a change in income, and which decreased. So our taxes that we submitted are not going to be what they are this year. When we resubmit in October, will that impact any way, or do I need to do something to adjust the taxes that were submitted?
So for the 22-23, we are using 2020 taxes. If you're currently lost your job, had a reduction of income that was involuntary, there is a process that called a simulation form that we do. Of course, it runs through our office, and we verify, and we will need additional information for that. So I definitely recommend you, once it gets closer, to call our office, probably March April to call our office and we can have that conversation with you. And we will determine if you will be eligible for a simulation form. And then we will contact you in regards to additional information as well.
That's only if it's involuntary, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
So I'm seeing a lot of questions about like honors college and some about residence life and things like that. For sake of like questions about financial aid, I can like put the links for residence life and
For
honors
sure.
college and their contact information.
Yes, I was gonna say on that, yeah, with Residence Life, we do have an upcoming Zoom partnering with that department, I believe in February. But there'll be some updates on that as well. And someone asked about additional parent and family Zoom series. We are trying to do one once a month based around things that might be happening during the semester that are relevant. So yes, there will be additional Zoom events, and we'll be sending invites for that as well. So
I did add our contact information. You're more than welcome to call us. We do have representatives answering the phone. If you do want to talk to a counselor, you're more than welcome to do so. Of course, send all the information if you want through fax. I highly recommend you reviewing our website. It is gorgeous. And it's so useful. Everything is in 3 clicks. Thanks to Ace and that team that updated at our website, but I definitely recommend you reviewing all of that information. It will give you more information about cost of attendance, what a subsidized, unsubsidized is, definition of all the grants that we students could potentially be eligible for, all of that stuff. Of course, we're located in the Estill building by the Visitor Center on the 2nd floor. Of course, our sister office, SMMC, will be in the same floor. So if you are wanting to meet up with Ace or his team, you're more than welcome to make an appointment with them as well.
awesome. Okay, just to kind of wrap things up here, I have switched over, I believe, yes. So just on this final screen, just to say thank you all for joining us. We do have a QR code, and if you joined us for the Zoom last month, this is a different QR code, and it takes you to a different little survey. We noticed on our previous one, we didn't really include a space for you as the parent or family member to include your contact information or your preferred way of being contacted. So if you want to scan that code there, or I'm also going to drop the link really quick into the chat. Oh, maybe not. I'm not sure why my screen has just gone black now. There you go. Thank you, Ali. Yeah, so if you just want to scan that screen.